Today I'm searching for the best homemade pizza, and to do that I'm putting two recipes to the test, one from Tasty and the other from America's Test Kitchen. You hear pizza and think, dough, sauce, cheese, how many different ways are there to essentially make the same thing? But these recipes come at this classic in two very unique ways. I'll show you how to make them and then grade them with my live-in taste tester.
It doesn't have like a ton of great flavor. This is amazing pizza. I want to eat all of this. This is the best homemade pizza you've ever had.
No.
Let's start with Tasty. Into half a cup of warm water, combine 1 teaspoon of granulated sugar with 2 teaspoons of dry yeast. Give it a stir and then let it sit until the yeast begins to bubble and show you that it's alive. Stir 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt into 7 cups of all-purpose flour. Yes, this makes a ton of pizza. Create a little well in the center for 6 tablespoons of olive oil and the yeast mixture. Mix it in the bowl until the flour is well hydrated, and then it's time to knead it on the countertop. I found this dough to be incredibly sticky for the first few minutes, and I highly recommend employing the use of a bench scraper so that you don't need to add any additional flour. After about 10 minutes when the dough is smooth and springy, transfer it to an oiled bowl, cover, and put it in the fridge to rest for 24 hours. Moving on to America's Test Kitchen recipe. In the bowl of a food processor, add 16.5 ounces of bread flour, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of rapid rise yeast, and pulse until it's well incorporated. With the processor running, stream in 1 1/3 cups of ice water until no dry flour remains. After resting the dough for 10 minutes, add 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil and 3 teaspoons of kosher salt. Process, and then on an oiled countertop, knead and shape the dough until it too is ready to rest in a greased bowl overnight. On day 2, begin by preheating your oven and pizza stone to 500 degrees 1 hour before you're ready to bake. Then, let's talk sauces. The Tasty sauce takes all of 2 minutes to make. Take a 28-ounce can of whole tomatoes and add 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. Blend until smooth, and then congratulate yourself for not getting too much sauce on the countertop. For the America's Test Kitchen sauce, get that food processor back out. Take a 28-ounce can of whole tomatoes and let that flop into the food processor in a really unappealing way. Add 2 garlic cloves minced, 1 teaspoon of red wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Blend until smooth. Back to the dough. I labeled the doughs so that I would know which one was which, and yeah, that was totally unnecessary because the Tasty dough grew in a ridiculous way that made it very distinctive. Knead the dough for a minute or 2 on a floured countertop before cutting it into 4 pieces. Each of those gets shaped into its own ball, and if you're going to save some of the dough to bake another day like I did, you can wrap it in plastic and then store it in the freezer. Let the baked today dough rest on a floured surface for 1 hour, and after it's done resting, use whatever means necessary to shape your pizza. I like the finger poke alternating with the knuckle stretch. Sprinkle some corn flour on your pizza peel, and then you're ready for sauces and cheese. Tasty calls for teared chunks of fresh mozzarella, and then it's straight into the oven for 15 minutes or until the crust and cheese are golden brown. Top with fresh basil. My live-in taste tester and I then immediately dug into this bad boy. But with the help of some movie-making magic, let's take a look first at how to make the America's Test Kitchen pizza. Following its 24-hour rest, divide the dough in half and form it into 2 balls. You can follow the same save and freeze procedure at this step if you don't want to bake both. Rest the dough on a greased baking sheet for 1 hour. Once the hour is up, stretch the dough on a floured surface to your desired dimensions. Prep your peel and sauce. America's Test Kitchen recommends a 1/2 cup of prepared sauce, followed by a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan and 1 cup of mozzarella. You can do a little jiggle test to make sure the pizza will come off the peel, and add more corn flour where you think there will be any stickage. And then bake for 10 to 12 minutes. Now it's time for my favorite part, the tasting and the grading with my live-in taste tester.
Taste tester, hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
How do you like pizza?
Fantastic. One of my favorites.
This is Tasty's best homemade pizza that you can make at home.
Okay.
Let's try it. I mean, pizza's delicious. If you made this at home, yeah, I would be like, that's a success. You made a good pizza.
Oh, hell yeah.
Maybe it's how I rolled it out. I like it more in the parts that are thinner. When you get to the more like crusty part, it doesn't have a ton of great flavor. Is this the best homemade pizza you've ever had?
No.
We use the OWL grading system from Harry Potter. O for outstanding is the top grade, T for troll is the bottom grade. Where does this pizza land for you?
I'm deciding between A and E. And I think I'm gonna give it A for acceptable.
Really?
Yeah. If you ordered a pizza from a restaurant
Yeah.
and this got delivered and put on your plate,
Yeah.
would you be like, oh, hell yeah, I'm so glad I came to this pizza place?
No.
You'd be like, oh, it's pretty good pizza.
That's true. But that's store-bought pizza, and I expect those people to be experts. I suppose when we had done in the past, say, Tasty's brownie recipe, that was like out of this world, way better than you thought you could make at home. And yeah, I think that this is kind of just like basic, solid, good recipe. Definitely still recommended to people.
Oh, yeah.
Should we try the America's Test Kitchen pizza?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Wait, so tell me about it.
We've had this before. This is the pizza that we made, and we were like, this is the best homemade pizza that we've ever had.
That is better.
It's such good pizza. Can I tell you why it's good?
Let me guess. The sauce itself is clearly not just tomatoes. It has like garlic or something in it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it better.
The other major difference is that this dough is made with bread dough. So it's like this perfect amount of chewiness. When we were talking about the other dough, because of how I rolled it out, we were like, if it was thinner, it would be better. The thinner bits were better. When you get to a chunky bit here, it's delicious.
Yeah.
You're like, that's so good. I don't care if there's inconsistencies in how the person rolled it out because I want to eat the bread part.
It's less basic, more of a complex flavor. The sauce is just way superior.
I think that actually eating this now, when we were grading the Tasty one, I was like, is it an E? Is it an A? Now you're like, no, that's an A. After you've had this outstanding O for outstanding pizza,
Yeah.
the other one's an A.
But in the brownie video, Tasty was superior
Oh yeah,
to Babish.
to Babish.
So apples and Babish.